How have things changed with David this weekend instead of right?
You know, overall, not a lot in terms of, you know, we're going, this is our 10th game, so he's had the whole season. You know, he's been practicing with the game plan each week, so, you know, try to do the things he's most comfortable with. In terms of our offense, I don't think there's limitations, so to speak. It's just maybe try to play with what he maybe is more comfortable with as opposed to if Bryant was in there. And, you know, again, I thought when he got in, came in the middle of the series, that's hard to do. We finished the series, we scored, and then he led us on a good touchdown drive last week, a couple third down conversions. So that was good, you know, for his confidence, the team's confidence. So hopefully he can continue to build on that.
How's he handled, he started obviously as a starter and then, you know, went to the backup role. How's he kind of handled that whole process?
You know, he's handled it great. I mean, David's, he's a solid, steady kid. He's pretty quiet, but he really is always studying and taking everything in. And, you know, he handled it really well. I think it allowed him to get in, get some experience at the Division I level, then step back and kind of, you know, see everything unfold, see how Bryant, at least a guy who's played a lot of ball, handles certain things. And, you know, I think he's prepared very well each week. And so I think that's why, you know, he went in there Saturday and did some good things.
How have you seen, in what areas have you seen him grow as a player over the last 10 weeks or so?
Yeah, I think just being able to handle more in terms of, you know, I think he's just more comfortable, obviously, in what we do. Because the guy didn't get the spring, so you're looking at he had, you know, 4 weeks or so to prepare for the first game. Now he's had the last 8 weeks, so that's a ton of practices that I think he's just more comfortable with all the little nuances of the system, what we do in the run game, in the pass game, base concepts, everything we do. And then it's also allowed him to handle more, say, and we need to game plan certain few things for this team this week because of what they do. He can now handle those things, I think, just because he has a better concept of the foundation, so to speak.
When he played against Holy Cross, he completed a lot of passes. Most of them were dump offs to the backs. Has he gotten a lot better throwing the ball down the field?
I think so, and I think that again goes back to, you know, game 1. You know, maybe there wasn't as much available to him to be able to run, you know, as there is now. And probably even in fairness to him, from my standpoint, in the first game, I was getting to know him a little bit, trying to, I don't want to know if say protect him is the right word, but not put him in situations that aren't fair to him. And now I think he's to a point that going into game 10, he's played a little bit in some games now. He's had the whole season. For us to have an opportunity to be successful against this team, you got to turn him loose and let him go play. And I think he's more prepared for that.
Who's impressed you from the wide receiver group so far?
You know, I think it's kind of like I was saying earlier on at the beginning of the year. We got to be good by committee. You know, we don't have a guy that's just going to, people are going to be doubling all night. But that's okay. And with the exception of the Missouri game, where we didn't throw and catch the ball very well, we've done a pretty good job catching the ball, I think. And it's been different guys. I was looking yesterday, I think we have 6 guys, I think, that have 20 or more catches. I think we have 9 people in double digits, 8 guys with over 100 yards or more catching on the season. So we've spread the ball around, and I think that's given all the guys some confidence that, hey, we'll just call the plays, the ball needs to go where it needs to go, and that guy's got to step up and make plays. We've had different games. So it's hard to single out a guy because they've all had their moments that they've stepped up and done some really good things. So I just think as a unit they've done a good job. I know I didn't give you maybe the answer you wanted, but I think that's the right answer. So.
Arkell and Nate Hopkins are back on the depth chart. Are they good to go this week?
You know, it's kind of a day-to-day deal. They practiced today, which was good, and you know, we're very confident they'll be ready to go. And of course, that would really help, you know, from a depth perspective and experience perspective, having those back. And Arkell was doing some good things when he went out, and then Nate obviously as well too in the run game. So, but I was really proud of Kevin last week. I thought he stepped up and did some really good things.
What do you like the way that he's improved, Rhett, from the time he first came in?
Talking about Kevin?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You know, I think it's a lot of ways like David. You got a kid who, in this type of offense he played in high school, they didn't pass protect. It was all wing T stuff. So, you know, he had to learn protections. And you kind of up until the last week or two, it was, hey, if we're throwing it, let's try to protect him. Now he knows the protections. You know, he did a good job on Saturday. He was in on some blitz looks, some protection looks. He knows who to block. He knows what to do. I think he's starting to slow down still. I mean, he's got some speed and quickness, which has been an advantage for us. But as a young back, a lot of times, you know, you have a tendency to hit things too fast. I mean, the other day, he rushed for almost, you know, 9,500 yards and did some really good things. And he'd be the first to tell you after he watched the tape, there were some holes we missed. And I think that just comes with maturity, being able to slow down. Because it's hard to play fast but patient as a running back. And slow down, press the hole, let the play develop. You know, and I think as he continues to get better, he'll see those holes even better. But he did squirt through some good ones and do some really good things. So I think it's just the game is week by week it slows down for him, and that's been good.
How about the offense, his leadership, his efficiencies. It seems like he's put together a really good season for you guys.
You know, I've been really proud of Bryant. First of all, he's really tough. I mean, he's a really tough guy. You know, our offensive line has done a really good job pass protecting, you know, some of the people we've had to go against. But there's a lot of times he gets the ball off and we take a shot. And that's the nature of playing the position. But, you know, the courage he has to stand in there and take those hits, I think, is really impressed me. I think that's what has probably impressed his teammates and earned him a lot of respect with them. But just to your point, being judicious with the ball, knowing where to go with it, and just taking what's there, and not trying to always make the big play, I think is why he's been efficient and why we've been at times efficient in the passing game. Because I think probably if you think of, he would tell you in his past that he tried to make stuff happen, and he just trusts the system, trusts everybody around him, let things come to him. You know, Dan Orlowski was with us some this spring. We were talking to him. Just be a boring quarterback. You know, if you just take what's there and do your job, then the big plays come. He's allowed that to happen more times than not. I think that's why he's been more efficient, more successful. So, you know, that's probably been the biggest thing.
What has to improve for you guys to do better on short yardage? Is it about line effort? Is it about everybody?
It's not effort. You know, it's probably a combination of, you know, we've got to be more opportunistic as an offense. You know, everything's a process. You know, and as a coach, you hope you can solve everything in one fell swoop. And at times we've been bad on third downs, and now at times we've been good on third downs. At times we've been explosive, at times we haven't. At times we've, like Temple, we scored in the red zone, at times we certainly haven't. And so, you know, the inconsistencies has been frustrating. That's part of the, I guess, the process we're having to go through, and sometimes it's painful. Because at times we do some really good things, and at times we do some really bad things. And, you know, you get in a 3rd and 1, a 4th and 1, you get inside the 5. A lot of times it comes down to, you know, just man on man. They may have an extra guy in there. They know what's coming. You kind of know what's coming. And you just got to be able to dig deep and just execute through your job. And in most of our situations, every now and then we just get whipped. And sometimes that's physical strength development, and we're playing a redshirt freshman and a true freshman on the right side that are 260 and 280. I mean, that's just, we're letting them get ready. But once they have a year in the weight room, things will be different there. You know, but you got to be able to execute. And if we got a double team on a guy and the fullback's supposed to do this and the back's got to find a way to get a yard, that's just what we have to do. You know, it's not always pretty. We just haven't done that at the level we need to. And so really, as a group, I'd say it's 2 things. One, sometimes it's execution, and then sometimes it's just, you know, we may have some weaknesses in some areas and we're doing the best we can. And the combination of the 2, the bottom line, we got to get it done. And that's what we've told our guys. We got to be more opportunistic. I mean, you look at, you know, the game last week. You know, that's a dang good defense. They're one of the best in our league. And that we had some mismatches in some spots. But we were, outside the first 2 drives or so, we were moving the football. But you get inside the 20, you know, we got to come away with 3 or 7 right before the half. You get a 4th and 1, you got to come away with points and stay on the field. And, you know, you get 2nd and 6 at the 30, you got to get to 3rd and 6 or better. We can't take a big sack. And those are the things that are keeping us from just being average to maybe being a little more explosive like we want to be. And so it's just a consistency thing. We just got to keep working at it.
What are David's best attributes, you think, as a quarterback?
You know, he gets the ball out of the hands really quickly. And so I think that's another thing that goes back to the question earlier with his strengths. Now that he's more comfortable, he kind of knows where to go with it a little quicker because he can get the ball out quick. And he throws a catchable ball. You know, now to that degree, sometimes too, he needs to put more on it. And like you said, we need to work on the deep balls, and he's been working on that. And I think improved. But he gets the ball out quick. He obviously can hurt you with his feet. You know, you saw that the other day. He scrambled on a play, and then he scored on a run from the 10. So he's got, you know, some dimensions there that we can work with. I think will help him have success as well.
You like to roll the pocket on 3rd down, short yardage situations. Is that to give the quarterback a run-pass option? How effective has that been this year?
Absolutely. You know, sometimes you give them run-pass options, whether it's short yardage, goal line, those kind of things. Sometimes it depends. It helps them see things better. Sometimes you do that for your offensive line. Mm-hmm. You know, not to try to put them in a drop-back situation all the time, especially when we're going to get some good people. How has effective it been? About as effective as we've executed. You know, the other night it's 3rd and 3. We sprint to a smash. He's wide open, and we throw it in his ankles. It's not very good. But the plays there, we just got to. It goes back to being opportunistic, stay on the field.
What about B-Sack? I mean, you're only 1 play away from him coming in, and what would be the options behind him?
You know, again, we go into a game. B-Sack's probably not quite the runner, maybe that David isn't, even Bryant. But from an intelligence standpoint, he knows what we do. You know, he got the whole spring reps with him and Bryant, getting all those reps. So He's done that, which gives you comfort right there. Now, the negative is he's not been running scout team all season, and he's not really been getting a lot of reps. And so just the knocking off the rust from throwing and just trying to get timing back down with the guys is probably the biggest concern I'd have. But in terms of him knowing what to do, I wouldn't be worried.
Is Donovan Williams a player that can see any quarterback reps?
You know, you never know in certain emergency situations with maybe him or Brad, but you know, he's obviously still working a lot of receiver, and that's kind of his primary spot.
What about those two freshmen on the right side? Obviously, you throw them in the fire a little bit, but you must be very encouraged by what they've been able to do.
You know, I have been. You got Ryan Vandemark, who's a true freshman. Again, he's lighter almost than our tight ends. Now he's very athletic, and we think the sky's the limit for him once he can just get in the strength program and develop his strength, put on weight. Obviously, he needs to get a lot closer to 300 than 260, and then it'll help him. But boy, the way he plays, how hard he plays, the way he fights, being able to mentally handle it, not just knowing what to do from an intelligence standpoint, because he's made freshman mistakes, but just handle the grind of a season, week in, week out, going against good people, and knowing that, you know, you're going to have to give everything you have to compete. I've been proud of him for that. It's only going to help him more in the future. Right now, we're taking some lumps with it, but you look this time next year and then even 2 years from now, I think you're going to see it pay great dividends. And then with Cam, you know, moving him to an inside position, he's done some really good things. He's a guy that needs strength and weight still, but again, the experience is as good as it gets. And when those two guys are healthy, their athleticism is an upgrade for us. And so that's why we did it. And just knowing that the strength and all those things will come with time, and they'll be really good players once that time hits.
What can you say about Donovan O'Reilly? I'm amazed by this story.
Yeah.
He tries off that team, and a couple weeks later he gets the final carry.